So when you're looking at this, you have to understand the way that the range works in the move. So there's kind of a few different ranges here. So I can just visually point out a few things that I see before talking about that. Like this would be one part, like this is one range that comprises of like the hold levels here. So the range kind of exists like this, right? Like the top of that move to this, and then you have your trend. So everything in this range back here ends up making, you know, one or two pieces, important pieces of information. You could mark, you know, 20 or 30 levels off this. You can mark range trends. You can go interior, global, local. Like you can start getting into this stuff and then fraying into here. And it's all just like derived from this range, right? But the most important thing about this range right now is this range trend. Like that's kind of the one thing that's important about this range. And then this range right here is kind of like this right here. And what's important about this is that level there. And then so you have a floating level here, which doesn't get hit, but then you have polarity there. So like the most important thing about this range here would be like this guy here, which is actually, when we look at it, this I might have preemptively marked this. It might actually be from back here because that's a important part of this range. But to be fair, I never looked at the ranges prior, but it's actually looking like this could possibly be the range here, which technically this wasn't. Technically this was. So it's like something like this between this and this, but I think I would just front run this anyways at 787. I don't think I would go all the way up to 806. Regardless that this is the right level, I just don't think there's enough spread there to justify shorting the higher part of this. Although you can, that's fine. Like you're talking, well, 14% actually. That's 10%, right on the line. I think you have to make that decision in the moment. Like it's up to you if you think this level or this level. I think either level's not gonna. They're either gonna hold or both break. So, and then, you know, what I do with this range is I look at the important part of this range here, and I see that you've got ladder points in the range. Like those are the three kind of primary key identifiers that I'm looking at when I'm looking at range number 1, range number 2, and range number 3. Because you do have 3 separate ranges here. Like this is one, this is the next one, and this is the next one, clearly. But then my most important part about this is identifying the most important information. Because if you were to mark all levels in all of these ranges, you would be looking at 50 levels on your screen and you wouldn't know what to buy or what makes sense or why it makes sense, right? So identifying those kind of most important pieces are really, really key. Now, when we're talking about floating levels and why I said, you know, you'd have to stay above this, but below this one here. So like when you go down to this point here, that's fine. Now you're what you're changing, it alters a bit. Like if you were to stay above this point here, what you're doing is you're now looking to create trends, things like this, ladder points like that. Like you're not breaking the move. So first off, there's not going to be any floating levels on top. So you're not going to have any floating levels. When you go below this point here, instead of the range looking like, okay, so from here to here, and you're in that, which means this stuff is no longer in play, right? Which is a part of that is this right here. That's that polarity from there. When you're above this, right? That this isn't in play. When you go below this, what's happening is that you're exposing yourself and you're starting to ladder off this range. So this actually ceases to exist. So scenario 1, it's like first point, ladder 1, ladder 2, move on, ladder 3 in the future. So you're creating a ladder. So now these trends become more important. When you go below this, you create floating levels up here, right? When you go below this, you're starting to expose yourself below to those ranges. So it's kind of just like how low you went in this move, right? You all of a sudden don't have any of that stuff, right? Like so fine, whatever. Your trend goes back like this. All of a sudden now you're going past this and you're laddering past this. So you're not even laddering the move anymore. Like this was 1, 2, 3, ladder the move here. So you're still kind of continuing this. Like this trend is no longer usable, right? Like this is no longer a usable trend. And at that point, you're not looking at floating levels. If you had just laddered off of this to here, you would have used this as a floating level because you're still keeping this range intact. So you're still saying like, oh, we've got this range trend here. And then eventually you'd be like this to this, and or however this move plays out, right? Like however this move plays out, you would still be trying to maintain that laddering. The second you pass this, you're now exposing yourself to the backside of this range instead of the front side of the range, right? Like front side, backside kind of combination stuff. You're now exposing yourself to the backside of that range. So that's why I marked this. And that's why I said you would have had to stay above this, but below this in order to stay inside of that part of the range. Like if you ended up going to here, exactly between, then your floating level makes sense because you broke below this and this part of the range is connected to here. So this floating level acts as a hold level to hold it down. When you break under this, you're now in the bigger part of the range, right? Like you're now back in that larger part of that range where this thing first starts, right? And even to that dismay, when we first looked at this, I had the screen like this. So I just marked this one. Even to that dismay, you're now breaking below this, but not this. So you're still in play against this range here. Like this range is in play. This range is now floated off. Like you can now use floating levels all the way back up to here. So like you could have eventually came to here or dropped, or in our case, I said I would buy polarity there in that move. Like if you were to flip the chart here, delete some of these red lines so you can actually see it. Right? Like this is that origin level that's polarity in the move. So when you break above it, back testing below it is like the perfect spot, right? Like back testing below that is the perfect spot because it's whatever breaks out a move holds it up and whatever breaks it down holds it down, right? Like that's that polarity in the move. But that's why I chose this level here. Well, in our moment, it was this one, but it's all the same thing. Like they both would have worked. I still think I probably would have used this one just because the price spread is so small. Like 10%, I don't know. Either one is fine. Either one would have been a huge winning trade, right? Like 6% down. So when you're breaking down here, you're now subject to this range, right? So like one of the key things about this is like you can delete all of this other information on your screen. You don't need any of this other stuff right now. So let's just like take all this off, make that chart a lot clearer. At that point here, once you lose this trend, like do you see what I mean about at this point, this range is still in play. Okay. Like you're still good right here. Like this is still in play. When you break below this stuff, this range is in play. When you break below this stuff, this range is in play, right? So when you broke to there, you broke underneath this second range. So the only thing you have left in this move, right? Like when you break below this range here, the only thing you have left in this move is the legacy information from here. So you literally have to stay above this trend. And when you lose this trend, this whole move collapses down to your next range because now you're at this range because you're still laddering above it, right? Like you still got, this is intact, this is intact, this is intact. You're still technically laddering above it. But once you lose that trend, this move is gone because this was the final part of the move. So like if you were to go to this on even like a 5-minute chart, I'm sure you could see the like immediate collapse of this thing when you lose this trend. Trend is still holding. Okay. Still holding. Oh, Jesus. Hard close. Bye. You know, like, so like that's, I'm sure this thing just sinks to the ground. Yeah. Because it lost its range, right? Like that's the thing about these ladder points is that they can be range controllers. So like this ladder point here, this is a range controller, right? Like you go below this ladder point, it's a range controller to here. And this was the important piece of information from this range, which we already identified earlier, that, you know, once you lose this trend, the move is gone. And then you even saw it on a 5-minute candle. So like when you're looking at ranges, they're often controlled by what ladders, right? They're often controlled by, oh, you're still laddering up. Same with this here, like ladder down, ladder down, ladder down, ladder down. Technically, this one actually laddered off this. And now you're in this part of the range. So you might actually have a bounce down here after this hits. You did, but you actually broke below this. So this breaks above this ladder point here to give you your attack on the top side, which I don't really think there's, I think you're literally just right here. You're just holding the move. Yeah, without changing time frames. Like I'm trying not to change time frames in this video. But like once this ladder's here and breaks above that ladder point here, you're kind of exposing yourself to a higher range, but then you broke below this. So this just kind of collapses, right? So like these ladder points, it's like the same thing, right? Like ladder, ladder, ladder. this ladder's up here. This breaks this ladder. So you might actually end up having trouble getting over this, which you did right there. But then ultimately you just broke it anyways, right? Or even right here. So that's the thing about those ladder points, is that, you know, you can see where they switch into the next range, like the conversion of being inside of one range. Like, it's a really interesting thing actually when you're sitting here, because all of a sudden you're inside of this range, the third range. So we'll just mark these 1, 2, 3 again. Like, this is cool because this is 1, right? Like, this is 1, this right here is 2, and this right here is 3, right? So it's cool because, like, right now you're in 3. 1 and 2 aren't even in play. Like, it's really cool. All of a sudden, okay, you're still in 3. You see, like, you're still inside of 3 here. Like, 3 is still active. That's cool. Oh, shoot. We just blew into 2, and 2 completely collapsed, and now we're into 1. Did we ladder off this? Yeah, we did. Okay, cool. We laddered off that. So now we're inside of 1, right? So, like, that's really cool, because now all of a sudden we have, like, the 2 and 3 just blew by. So like, you can see which range you're living in. And then another cool thing that happens is that, like, if you go way below this, like if your price went like way below this, like that, and came back up here, you create a new one right here. So like this one just simply shifts from here to here. And then you usually have like an origin, something like this back here. This isn't always the case, but I see this often. And your number 1 is now over here because you started that range all over again. And now you have like a lot of movement up because you just created a new range if it holds. So like, you're creating a 1, it's going to move up for a while. See if we can find a spot where that happens. No, this is all ladders up. Right here. See, look, here it is right here. See how, like, this is the beginning of the range. This goes below it. It creates the new one. This creates the new one, starts to move up. This creates the new one, starts to move up, right? And then you get to a point where, like, if you hold, like, if this was your 1 right here, right? Like, if this was your 1 right here, you know, you start to hold, that's not, like, that doesn't, let's just do this 1 swoop thing. Kind of looks like a 2, but this is our number 1. Like, if this is your number 1 range right here, then, you know, when you do this, you have that move up. So it's like, you're constantly trying to just like reestablish where your range is, right? As opposed to laddering the move. Yeah. And it's like, you can visualize which range you're in based on ladder points. So like, the conversion of being in one range to another changes drastically, which is really cool.